All right, let's jump into this year's JP Morgan Healthcare Conference. It's always a whirlwind, but it really feels like we get a glimpse into the future of healthcare.
Oh, absolutely. It's the place to be if you want to see where the money's going and what the big players are betting on.
So we're here to break it all down for you, sort through the noise, and give you the need-to-know info.
We'll try and make sense of it all.
Yeah. So right off the bat, the biggest news was those mega mergers. Johnson & Johnson, they made a huge splash with that $14.6 billion acquisition of Intra-Cellular Therapies.
Yeah, that was a big one. Intracellular, they've been kind of under the radar. But they're doing some really interesting work with CNS disorders.
CNS disorders, that's central nervous system, right?
But things like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, major depressive disorder, really complex conditions that are tough to treat.
So what made them so attractive to J&J?
Well, their flagship drug, Caplyta.
Caplyta. Okay, tell me more about that.
It's a really unique drug. It targets both dopamine and serotonin imbalances in the brain.
So like a two-pronged approach.
Exactly. And early studies suggest it might have fewer of those nasty metabolic side effects
Yeah.
that you see with some of the other antipsychotics.
Ah, so it's potentially more effective and safer.
Potentially, yeah. It's still early days.
But I can see why J&J saw an opportunity there. I mean, the mental health market is it's huge and growing.
Oh, yeah. It's a major area of focus for a lot of companies.
And this move kind of puts J&J in the driver's seat.
For sure. They're definitely a leader now.
But J&J wasn't the only one making big moves. GSK, they scooped up IDRx, which is focused on targeted cancer therapies.
Right. IDRx has this promising drug, IDRx-W8. It's showing some real potential in gastrointestinal cancers.
GI cancers, those are notoriously difficult to treat, right?
Yeah, they often don't respond well to traditional chemo.
So anything that offers a new option is a big deal. Now, this one was a bit of a head-scratcher. Eli Lilly, they made a $2.5 billion acquisition, but they're keeping the target company a secret.
Yeah, that was a surprise. Nobody seems to know who they bought.
So any guesses? What do you think they're up to?
Well, if you look at Lilly's recent strategy, they've been very focused on oncology, neuroscience, and diabetes.
So you think it's got to be one of those areas?
Most likely, yeah. It would make sense for them to bolster their existing portfolio.
Makes sense. So we'll have to wait and see what they reveal. But speaking of areas that are getting a lot of attention, inflammation was another hot topic at the conference. Gilead and AbbVie were both showcasing their next-gen treatments for rheumatoid arthritis and IBD.
Yeah, it was almost like a head-to-head competition between them.
So what's driving all this focus on inflammation?
Well, these conditions, they're becoming increasingly prevalent globally.
Yeah.
And the existing treatments, they can be pretty rough.
Ah, so there's a real need for better options.
Absolutely, something that's more effective and has fewer side effects.
Yeah, I can see why that's a priority. So what kind of science are we talking about here? What are they working on?
It's a mix of approaches. We're seeing biologics, small molecules, even treatments targeting specific pathways.
Pathways.
Yeah, like JK inhibitors. These are proteins that play a key role in the inflammatory process.
So they're trying to block those proteins to stop the inflammation.
Exactly.
Wow, that's pretty precise.
It's getting very sophisticated.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Teva, they were all over the conference talking about biosimilars.
Biosimilars, yeah. They're basically follow-on versions of biologic drugs.
Follow-on versions, so like generics, but for biologics.
Exactly. They're much more affordable.
So that's got to be a big deal for patients.
Oh yeah, especially for those who need long-term treatment.
Yeah, those biologic drugs can be incredibly expensive.
They can be.
So what's Teva's strategy here?
Well, they've been partnering with companies like Formycon AG and Samsung Bioepis to develop biosimilars for some of the biggest selling biologics.
Like what kind of treatments are we talking about?
Rheumatology, oncology, diabetes.
Oh, so some of the most expensive areas.
Exactly.
Sounds like they're trying to corner the market on biosimilars.
They're definitely trying to be a major player.
And is that a smart move, do you think?
Well, the global biosimilar market is it's projected to be worth over $30 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely a lot of money to be made.
Wow, $30 billion. That's a lot of dough.
It is.
All right, let's move on to another company that caught my eye, Biohaven. They're making waves in the neurology space.
Biohaven, yeah, they've been doing some interesting stuff.
They're focused on developing therapies for migraines, depression, anxiety.
Right, and they have a pretty impressive pipeline with several late-stage trials wrapping up this year.
So we could see some new drugs hitting the market soon.
Potentially, yeah.
Okay, that's something to keep an eye on. Now, it wasn't all just about big pharma at the conference. There was a lot of buzz around AI and robotics.
Oh, yeah, that was a big theme.
It felt like the future was on display.
In some ways it was.
So, what were some of the most impressive advancements you saw?
Well, persistent systems, they have this AI-powered knowledge graph that's really revolutionizing healthcare data analysis.
Knowledge graph. That sounds a little over my head.
Think of it like a superpowered search engine for healthcare.
Okay.
It can sift through mountains of data
Ah.
and make connections that would take humans forever to find.
So it's helping us to make sense of all that data.
Exactly.
And what does that lead to? What's the benefit?
Well, it can help us to improve diagnoses, personalized treatments, and even develop new drugs faster.
So it's not just about robots performing surgery. AI is becoming the brains behind the scenes too.
Exactly.
That's pretty amazing.
It is.
And speaking of robots and surgery,
Dama Hospital, they showcase their use of robotics in orthopedic care. It's pretty mind-blowing.
robots performing surgery. That
Yeah.
sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It's becoming reality. They're making surgeries more precise
Mhm.
and less invasive.
So better outcomes for patients.
That's the goal.
Okay, that's pretty incredible. And then there's USC. They're doing some really cool work with AI in India.
Yeah, they're partnering with organizations in India to
Yeah.
use AI for predictive analytics
Mhm.
to tackle the growing burden of chronic diseases.
In emerging markets.
Right.
So this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? We're only going to see more of this AI and robotics integration moving forward.
Absolutely, this is just the beginning.
Wow, it's pretty mind-boggling to think about.
It is.
But let's zoom in on one aspect that particularly caught my attention: personalized medicine.
Personalized medicine, yeah.
Is it really possible to tailor treatments to each individual patient, like a custom-made suit?
It's not just possible. It's becoming a reality.
Wow.
And it's changing the game. We're moving away from that one-size-fits-all approach to medicine.
That's a pretty radical shift. So how does personalized medicine even work?
It's all about understanding each patient at a deeper level. We're
Yeah.
talking about analyzing their genes, their lifestyle, their environment, all the pieces that make up their health puzzle.
So it's like having a blueprint specific to each person's body,
Exactly.
and this blueprint lets us do what?
Well, it lets us predict their risk of developing certain diseases, catch conditions earlier, and choose the most effective treatments with fewer side effects.
Okay, I'm seeing the potential.
Yeah.
But how is this actually playing out in the real world? Give me an example.
Well, one area where it's making a huge impact is in cancer treatment. By analyzing a patient's tumor DNA, doctors can identify the specific mutations driving the cancer's growth.
So it's like finding the cancer's its weak spot,
Exactly.
and then they can they can target it with specific therapies.
Right. Therapies that are designed for those specific mutations. This is much more effective than traditional chemo, which often attacks healthy cells along with the cancerous ones.
Ah, so less collateral damage
Exactly.
and better outcomes.
Hopefully, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. What other areas are benefiting from this personalized approach?
Another exciting field is pharmacogenomics.
Pharmacogenomics. Okay, I'm not familiar with that one.
It's all about how your genes affect your response to medications.
Our genes, really?
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
So how can our genes influence how our bodies react to drugs?
Well, our genes carry instructions for building proteins. And some proteins are key players in how our bodies process medications. Some people might break down a drug quickly, while others process it slowly, all thanks to their unique genetic makeup.
So one person's miracle cure might be another person's nightmare, all because of their genes.
Exactly.
Wow,
Oh.
that's pretty wild.
It is.
So how does pharmacogenomics help?
It's helping doctors to predict how someone will respond to a specific drug. This lets them pick the right drug at the right dose, minimizing the risk of side effects, and improving the chances of success.
So it's like taking the guesswork out of prescribing.
In a way, yeah.
That's pretty remarkable.
And we're scratching the surface. Researchers are finding more and more ways to use genetic information to improve diagnosis, treatment, and even prevention.
Okay, this all sounds pretty amazing. But are there any downsides or challenges to this personalized approach?
Of course, there are always challenges.
Like what?
Well, one of the biggest hurdles is the sheer amount of data involved. We're talking about analyzing massive amounts of genetic information, medical records, lifestyle factors. It's a data management challenge for sure.
I can imagine. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose of information.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming.
What about the cost? Is personalized medicine only for the wealthy?
That's a crucial question. Personalized medicine can be expensive, especially with newer technologies like gene sequencing. So we need to find ways to make it more accessible to everyone, regardless of their income or background.
Yeah, that's a really important point. We can't have a system where only the privileged few can benefit from these advancements.
I agree.
All right, let's shift gears again. VR and augmented reality, they're making waves in healthcare too, right?
Oh, absolutely. VR and AR are they're stepping out of the entertainment world and into the medical field in some really fascinating ways.
I usually associate VR with gaming, not hospitals.
Yeah, me too.
So how are they using it in medicine?
Well, one exciting area is medical training. Imagine a medical student performing a virtual surgery without any risk to a real patient.
So it's like a flight simulator for surgeons.
Exactly.
They can practice complex procedures, hone their skill.
Learn from their mistakes, all in a safe environment.
That's pretty ingenious.
It is.
What about using this technology for actual patients?
Well, VR is being used to help patients with chronic pain manage their symptoms.
How does that work?
By immersing them in a virtual world, they can distract themselves from their pain and learn coping mechanisms.
We have virtual escape from pain.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's pretty amazing.
It is.
What about AR? Is that being used in treatment?
AR is it's providing surgeons with real-time information during surgery.
Like what kind of information?
Well, picture a surgeon seeing a 3D model of the patient's anatomy, right, overlaid onto their real body.
So they have like X-ray vision?
Kinda, yeah. It's leading to more precise and less invasive procedures.
It sounds incredibly futuristic.
It is.
It's incredible to think how technology is changing the face of healthcare at every level.
Absolutely.
Were there any other big trends from the conference that stood out to you?
One trend that's gaining momentum is the focus on mental health.
Mental health. Yeah, we saw that with Johnson & Johnson's big acquisition. It seems like mental health is finally getting the attention it deserves.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
So what were some of the signs that mental health is becoming a priority?
Well, there were a number of presentations and discussions specifically about mental health, highlighting the need for better treatments and a greater understanding of mental well-being.
Did we see any concrete action beyond just talk?
Definitely. There were lots of investors, including venture capital firms and private equity groups, looking to put their money into mental health startups.
So it's not just lip service. There's real investment driving innovation in the field.
It seems so, yeah.
That's encouraging.
It is.
Where are these investors focusing their attention?
One hot area is digital mental health.
Digital mental health.
This involves using technology to deliver care, including things like teletherapy, mental health apps, and online support groups.
So it's about bringing mental health care into the digital age.
Exactly.
And making it more convenient and accessible.
Right.
I can see how that would be a game changer for people in rural areas or those who can't easily leave their homes.
Absolutely.
Is there evidence that this digital approach actually works?
There's growing research suggesting that digital mental health interventions can be as effective as traditional therapy. For some conditions, at least.
That's good to hear.
It is. Are there any other trends in mental health treatment that you think are worth mentioning? Well, personalized medicine is also making its way into mental health.
personalized medicine. We talked
Mhm.
about it earlier with cancer and drug responses.
Mhm.
How does personalized medicine apply to mental health?
Just like our genes can influence our physical health, they can also play a role in our mental health by
Mm.
analyzing someone's genes. Scientists can identify variations that might make them more vulnerable to certain mental health conditions or more likely to respond to particular medications.
So the idea is to tailor mental health treatments to the individual, just like we're doing with cancer. So
Exists.
that's pretty fascinating.
That is.
It's exciting to see how personalized medicine is expanding into new areas of healthcare. But with all this talk about cutting edge technology and treatments, let's not forget about the human element.
Absolutely. Technology is it's a powerful tool, but it doesn't replace human connection and compassion. At the end of the day, healthcare is it's about people caring for people.
That's a good point to remember.
It is.
It's easy to get caught up in all the bells and whistles, but at the end of the day, it's about people, right?
Oh, absolutely. Technology is just a tool. It's how we use it that really matters.
Right. And speaking of tools, we saw a lot of cool stuff with VR and augmented reality at the conference.
Oh, yeah. VR and AR, they're really starting to make their mark in healthcare.
I'm still kind of wrapping my head around it. I mean, I always think of VR as a gaming thing.
Yeah. So definitely got that association.
So how are they actually using it in medicine?
Well, one of the most exciting areas is medical training. Imagine a medical student performing a virtual surgery
Okay.
without any risk to a real patient.
Wow, that's pretty incredible.
It is. They can practice complex procedures, hone their skills, learn from their mistakes, all in a safe environment.
So it's like a flight simulator for surgeons.
Exactly.
That's pretty ingenious.
It is.
What about using this technology for actual patients?
Well, VR is being used to help patients with chronic pain manage their symptoms
Oh, that's interesting.
by immersing them in a virtual world. They can distract themselves from their pain and learn coping mechanisms.
A virtual escape from pain?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty amazing.
It is.
How about AR? Is that being used in treatment?
AR is it's providing surgeons with real-time information during surgery.
Okay, so how does that work?
Well, imagine a surgeon seeing a 3D model of the patient's anatomy
Hmm.
overlaid onto their real body.
So they have like X-ray vision.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
It's leading to more precise and less invasive procedures.
Wow, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It does, doesn't it?
But it's happening right now.
It is.
It's incredible to think about how technology is changing the face of healthcare at every level.
It's truly remarkable.
It is. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from billion-dollar acquisitions to robots in the operating room. It's clear that healthcare is evolving at an incredible pace.
It is moving fast.
But with all this innovation, it makes you wonder about the potential downsides.
Yeah, there are always two sides to every coin.
Right. For example, how do we ensure that these advancements benefit everyone, not just a select few?
That's a crucial point. We can't have a system where only the wealthy can access the best treatments.
Right. Equitable access to healthcare is paramount.
Absolutely.
And what about all the data being collected? We're talking about incredibly personal information, genetic data, medical records, even lifestyle choices.
Yeah, that's a big concern.
How do we protect that information and prevent it from being misused?
Well, we need strong safeguards in place,
Yeah.
clear regulations, transparent data sharing practices, and rigorous security protocols.
It's a tricky balance.
Yeah.
Using data to improve healthcare while ensuring that individual rights and privacy are respected.
It is. It's a delicate balance.
We need to make sure this information is used responsibly.
Absolutely.
And what about bias, especially with AI? If the algorithms are trained on biased data, they can perpetuate and even amplify existing inequalities.
You're right. That's a real danger.
So the AI we use in healthcare needs to be fair and impartial.
It does.
Otherwise, we risk creating a a system that reinforces existing prejudices.
Exactly.
So what can we do to mitigate that risk?
Yeah. Well, we need diverse data sets,
Yeah.
rigorous testing, and ongoing monitoring to ensure that the AI is working as intended.
And that it's not perpetuating bias. It seems like there's a lot to consider as we navigate this new frontier in healthcare.
There is. It's a complex landscape.
It's not just about the science and technology. It's about the ethical implications as well.
Absolutely.
So how do we move forward responsibly?
Well, I think it starts with open conversations
Yeah.
involving diverse voices and prioritizing ethical considerations alongside innovation.
So it's not just about the tools themselves, but how we use them.
Yes.
Technology can be a powerful force for good, but we need to wield it wisely.
I agree.
As we wrap up this deep dive into the 2025 J.P. Morgan Healthcare Conference, what's the key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think the main takeaway is that the healthcare landscape is being transformed before our eyes. We're witnessing a period of remarkable innovation, but we can't just get swept up in the excitement. We need to be thoughtful, critical, and engaged, asking tough questions and demanding that progress benefits all members of society.
It's a call to action for all of us.
It is?
The future of healthcare is being shaped right now, and we all have a role to play.
Absolutely.
So how do we do that? How do we make sure that everyone benefits from these advances?
Well, it starts with awareness. We need to educate ourselves about the potential benefits and risks of these new technologies.
And we need to have those tough conversations about the ethical implications.
Yeah, we can't just blindly embrace every new gadget or treatment.
Hmm.
We need to think critically
Yeah.
and ask the hard questions.
Like who benefits from this,
Yeah.
and who might be left behind, and how do we ensure that everyone has access to the best possible care?
Those are all important questions.
They are. It's a lot to think about,
It is.
but it's exciting too. I mean, we're living in a time of incredible change,
We are.
and who knows what the future holds.
Yeah, it's hard to predict.
But one thing's for sure,
Huh.
the healthcare landscape is it's going to look very different in the years to come.
It will, that's for sure.
So we need to be prepared.
We do.
We need to be informed and engaged,
Absolutely.
and most importantly, we need to be hopeful.
I agree.
There's a lot to be excited about.
There is.
So let's embrace the future, but let's do it thoughtfully and responsibly.
I think that's a great way to put it.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the 2025 J.P. Morgan Healthcare Conference.
It was my pleasure.
And until next time, stay healthy and keep exploring.
Take care.